to be conditioned in life where start making I'm gonna try to start making daily vlogs. Um the function of these videos, my 2 cents as a platform was always like science and philosophy. And over time life became difficult, and so now these videos are kind of like advice for people that are 18 to 25 so that they can use it to make better decisions for themselves so that they can maximize their success in a world that is designed to make sure that we are not successful. The world doesn't care about you, and the world wants to take advantage of the world wants to profit off of your failure, right? Like when I was at work today, and even Nessa said the same thing. My manager, she came over to me and she was like, I know I've been being hard on you the last couple of weeks. I just I want you to know that you're doing a great job, and I'm just trying to make you perfect. Like there's no such thing as perfect, and you're being who you are. Like you don't have to try to explain why you operate from the energies you operate from. You operate from the same energy that everybody else operates from, and we are, for whatever reason, invested in engaging in patterns of behavior that don't benefit us. We're perfectly content with understanding like this thing that I'm doing doesn't yield the kind of quality of life that I want, but I will continue to do this thing that I was told that I'm supposed to do and play my part in the larger cog of this machine that is designed to make sure that none of us are as successful as we want to be so that I can get my crumbs, right? That's pretty much the main reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. The world wants to sell you things you don't want. They want to convince you to buy the things that they're offering you. They don't want to give you any kind of quality for the goods that they're providing. And they want you to not know that you're not happy receiving the thing that you've been given, right? And there's a lot of energy put into making sure that you are confused and distracted and in a state of distress so that you can't make good decisions. People want to make sure that you're always focused on everything outside of yourself, and you're always invested in giving everything you got away so that you can indirectly gain. And it's this counterproductive energy that we operate from that is the problem in this world, in the current state of the world. We continue to operate from the mentality that there's not enough resources for everyone, and there is enough resources for everyone. We have the logistical means and the production level that everybody can have the basic essentials for being alive. And we don't need to use the threat of death and the threat of not having enough and the threat of pain and suffering and threat in general to force people to do the things that should be being done anyway. The average person will actually get up and go to work without having to be forced. And it's unfortunate that good morning. It's unfortunate that society as a whole has these antiquated values that were given to us by our parents and our grandparents and our great great grandparents. And then right now in the present day, we don't really need to do that, right? Right. We don't need to continue to invest in a system that doesn't care about us. Why are we invested? Why would you agree to go fishing to get paid in fish, but you have to catch at least 100 fish before you're allowed to take a fish home, and the maximum amount of fish you can actually catch is 90? Like, why do we agree to stuff like that? Why do we have these bullshit rules that don't serve any kind of function to make you a functional person? But then we entertain it like, oh, well, you should have tried harder. You should have done better. Like, I don't understand why the average person sees bullshit and corruption around them, and then they're like, well, I was able to overcome the bullshit and the corruption because I'm better than you. So maybe if you could just learn how to overcome the bullshit and corruption, you could be a better person. Like, why do small-minded people find it acceptable to operate in their own detriment because they can feel like they validated themselves? And the biggest problem, and right now, the biggest problem in the world right now is that nobody wants to actually do the things that are supposed to get done. It's one thing to live in a world where people are competent and you're getting validated because you're achieving objectives. We don't live in that world. We live in a world where people are okay with lying, cheating, and deceiving their way through the world and bullshitting them through society. And as I used to say back in the day, mentally masturbating about their achievements and their objectives. And then that's good enough. It's good enough that you said you own 10 cars. You don't actually own 10 cars, but it's good enough that you said you own 10 cars. It's good enough that people say the things that they want and operate from this indirect, subjective reality, you know. And that's the part that's the most crazy is, at least in the past, you were what you said you were. You were, because there was a term back in the day that said perpetrating. And it's like, man, you perpetrating, like you're pretending to be something that you're not, right? But nowadays, that's all people do. Nowadays, all people do is pretend like they're great, pretend like they're fine, pretend like they're amazing. You know, like I got a kitchen full of dirty dishes because there's not enough hours in the day for me to be a functional adult. I don't understand why I have to manage a 26-hour day when there's only 24 hours in the day. Like, why? Why? Like, I have to. It's 4:30 in the morning. I have to go to work at 5:30. I have to be home at 2 p.m. I have to do homework that is due at the end of the day. I have to watch 2.5-hour lectures. I've got 2 classes. Each class has a 2.5-hour lecture that I have to watch, and I have to do all these assignments and turn all this work in. And it's all a bunch of stuff that's not really relevant or important to what I'm doing. One of the things, I know I'm ranting. Ranting is kind of what I do on this channel. One of the things that I found interesting when I was doing my homework the other day, because I had a 98, and I went to turn the assignments in, but the GitHub didn't work, so I couldn't upload the files to the GitHub, and they were due on Friday when they should have been done on Sunday. So I just texted the teacher and was like, hey, I know I'm not gonna be able to successfully pass this class. I'm not really interested in doing this work. I'm gonna just take my 2 zeros and move on with my schedule. And my teacher was like, well, you're already gonna pass. Is there any way we could extend the due date so that you can get the assignments turned in, if you can figure out and resolve the conflict with the GitHub? The thing that the average person doesn't understand or doesn't get about the way this works, the GitHub broke because it's designed to break. Like, it's designed not to do that. It's designed to not function. The very first thing that happened in the next class was 3 students, day 1, 3 students put in the group chat, hey, I'm having a hard time pushing the files up to the GitHub. I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. 3 students, day 0. 3 students had the same problem that I got a 0 for. Yo, chat, like, and subscribe. So the point that I made, or the conclusion I came to, was you go to college to learn how to be proficient. Then the way our education system is structured, they don't teach you anything. They just want you to be obedient. They just want you to be able to follow the rules, follow the directions, and understand your place in the pecking order, right? That's the only reason. That's the main thing that is being taught in school. So, if they're deliberately creating problems so that we can have real world experience about the things that go wrong, and they want you to be able to prove that you know how to problem solve and find solutions to issues, yet the industry doesn't want to fix issues as they arise. When a conflict or a situation occurs, they don't want to fix it. The question that I ask myself is, Is it that we no longer have organic problems in the world and that all issues are created by us? Or is it that the need to control is so prevalent that they would design problems just so that they could justify the idea that they're in control? Because if you really think about it, I should be going to school to learn how to be proficient. I shouldn't be going to school and being taught how to solve problems in case something goes sideways. Because if you can notice something's going to be a problem, you could correct for that problem, right? And the reason why I was fascinated is because that's what the Microsoft Life System is all about. Like, the whole point of what I'm doing is I'm creating a structure that will allow me to address the issues in my life, right? Last year, like, I have a base 10 clock and a base 10 calendar, and it doesn't make a lot of sense why I have a base 10 clock and a base 10 calendar, but the rhythms and patterns in society are designed in such a way that keeps you in this overly stressed, reactive mental state to where you never actually achieve your own objectives because you're constantly reacting to everything all the time. React. It's like, why? Why do we have to always constantly react to everything? Like, the whole point of society was so that we wouldn't have to be stressed out every time there was a lightning strike or every time something ruffled in the forest. Like, we're sitting next to a bush and the wind blows. We don't know if the wind is causing the bush to shake or if there's a predator in the bush. Right? That was the whole reason why humanity created stable society. So we have houses so we don't have to be constantly reacting to everything. But society is like got us geared to that. The conflict that I'm having right now is I make about $3,600 a month, right? Maybe a little plus or minus $3,600. I get $1,000 for going to school full time as a veteran. I'll get that for the next 2 years while I'm in school full time, and I get paid $1,300 every 2 weeks as a forklift driver, which is below what I should be making as a forklift driver. But I live in a world where, because I am African American, I will always make a little bit less to the people around me. The job I had before this, I was making what I'm owed, but I was being treated like shit. Every fucking day I had to come to work and be disrespected and told that I'm not good enough and that, oh, everything we decided, all the problems that went wrong was your fault. And I'm sitting there watching, like, I have this military mentality. So I'm watching them move and navigate and maneuver around me, snickering like little kids. Like, I don't see the bullshit. Like, I haven't done this before. And it's just exhausting to constantly have to be dealing with that shit. And when you're an 18 or 19 or 20-year-old and you're in the world and you're not sure what's going on and you're new to all this stuff and you're constantly having to deal with the same shit, like, why is a 35-year-old man or a 40-year-old woman constantly nitpicking and disrespecting somebody younger than them? Why are we setting the youth up to fail the same way we were set up to fail, right? So I know I'm right. The Microsoft Life System, the clock and the calendar is based on those paradigms. It's based to get out of that structured way of thinking. So when I quit working, so I get paid we get paid every 2 weeks. So when I was working for the Dimensions, I get paid every week, right? And this is like the boring part of the conversation, but this is the most important part. This is the part that you should really be listening to. The money that I was making, right? I make a certain amount and I have to pay a certain amount. I was homeless in my car. All this stuff is on my channel. When I was homeless in my car, I saved enough money to get the apartment that I'm living in now. To move into the apartment, they wanted, my rent is $1,300. They wanted $1,300. They wanted a security deposit of $1,300, even though the sign outside says first month free, right? Then after moving in, my first rent, my first pay that I owed them was also $1,300. So on the first day that I moved in, I dropped $2,600. The very next day, the very next 30-day pay cycle, I still had to pay all my bills, I still had to buy food, I still had to put car, money in the car, and all that stuff. The very next pay cycle, I dropped another $3,600. So within a 30-day window, I gave them 3 months rent. I gave them 3 months rent in a 30-day window.
I missed 2 weeks of work at that bullshit ass fucking company, and I went 2 weeks into the hole. But I lost money because every day that you don't work, you don't earn any money. So I lost money. So as I'm losing money, as I'm not earning money, I still have this debt that I have to actually pay for, right? So the debt that I'm trying to pay is the rent, but I'm 2 weeks behind. So I get a job working for the temp agency and I take a pay cut. I get hired into the job that I have now, but I go another 2 weeks into the hole because I have to transition from working for the temp agency to working for this company. So I lose 30 days worth of income. So we get paid every month, 12 months in a year. My annual income is a certain amount, right? So I lost 30 days worth of income. So 11 months, right? And then there were times when I wasn't working. So let's say that's another 2 weeks. So in a year of 2024, I only worked 10 and a half months and I paid a whole year's worth of income. Because every time you're constantly having to react and people are constantly trying to trick you and confuse you into making sure that you don't have paying attention to every little detail in your life, you get distracted from the actual reality of what's going on, right? I paid them a full year's worth of income for 2024. But here's the part. I didn't earn a full year's worth of income. And I gave them 2 fucking months extra. So I paid them 14 fucking months of income, 14 fucking months of rent, and a 12-month pay cycle, only to keep having them come to me and tell me that I owe them money. You owe us. You owe us. You owe us. You know what I'm going to come home to? I'm going to come home to a letter on my door saying that I owe them $1,300 and, well, $1,400 because they're going to charge me a late fee. Here's the part, right? The government gives me $1,000 just to go to school, and I make $1,300 every 2 weeks. But I'm outside of the synchronization of the time that we do shit in, and because I'm outside of it, I keep getting punished for it. This is the part that adults don't explain to children. I'm outside of the time because I want to be outside of the fucking time. I'm deliberately outside of the time because I want to be outside of the time. I don't want to react to a broken fucking world. I don't want to, right? So, in my decision making to see a problem that exists for me and want to resolve that problem that exists for me, I created a condition that goes against the grain of the conflict, right? We call that decision making, right? You identify a problem, you address that problem, and you find a solution to that problem. We call that decision making. When I get a 2-week notice on my door saying, hey, Mr. Emerson, you owe us rent. You need to give us your rent or you need to get out. That unnecessary stress. You know, at the beginning, it's the 6th or the 7th of the month. I say Avery 37. It's the 6th or the 7th of the month. I have already paid more than $2,300 in the first week of every month is what I owe in bills. But because I'm behind in my earning, this is the important part of being a functional adult. Because I'm behind in my earning, it feels like I'm not able to pay my bills. But I make $3,600 a month. So if I make $3,600 a month and my bills are less than $3,600 fucking dollars a month, why am I always short? Because of the time synchronization component that keeps you fucking stressed out for no goddamn reason. Constantly trying to figure out, what am I gonna do to get enough money to do this? What am I gonna do to get enough money to do that? I don't know how I'm gonna make it to next week. All you have to do is save. As long as you're earning more than you expend, you're fine. But I only earn about $600, maybe $700 more than I spend. But guess what they do when you don't pay your bills on time? They charge you a fucking late fee. So I can't save anything to get out of the hole because of a fucking late fee. And you know what the irony is? The irony is that all of the money that I need to not be dealing with the unnecessary stress that I'm under was accumulated when I was fucking homeless. That's the real irony. When I was homeless, sleeping in my car at the rest stop, chilling, I didn't have this problem. I didn't have this fucking problem. When I was running a generator for $5 a fucking day, and I'm like, I should get a place because this is too expensive. My electricity bill is only $130 a month, but I'm paying all my goddamn money in fucking rent late fees. Like it doesn't make any sense. And I was like, oh, it's too fucking expensive to eat fast food every day. Let me get a house so I can have a refrigerator, so that I can put food in my refrigerator, and then I can use my stove. I don't have any extra fucking time anymore because I have to go to fucking work. I don't have the option anymore to just be like, I'm not coming into work today, because I have to pay all these fucking unnecessary bills, right? So this is the part of the video that says 18, because a lot of people want to front, right? Like, if I was a female, I could just hit up a bunch of guys and they would help me with the rent money. Even if I don't have sex with them, it's still an option. Like, I don't want to make it seem like women are prostituted hoes, because that's not the case. I just want to put in perspective how difficult life is for the average person in relation to the idea that women are fucking boss babes. You're not. Women are not running around on this planet having to deal with the same level of stress that the average human being has to deal with. They are not average in the way that they deal with life. And the constant idea that young men don't know how to be functional adults because a woman has looked at them like, see, if you were just speaking into fucking existence. I don't have a fucking vagina. You can't speak shit into fucking existence if you have a fucking penis. You have to get in your car and go to fucking work, or get on the bus and travel the extra hour it takes to get to fucking work, and work for 8 fucking hours and be on your best fucking behavior while being disrespected by people around you that are just as fucking uncomfortable with their life as you are, that don't want to align with the principles of just being decent fucking human beings. That's how that shit fucking works. And if I can make enough money to where I'm not fucking in debt, then the extra money that I would save every month would accumulate from hundreds to thousands to tens of thousands of dollars. And then I will finally, after 4 or 5 years of being alone, struggling and saving and being a functional fucking adult, I would take the money that I'm saving and I would spend it on a fucking woman that's not gonna fucking care about how difficult life is every day. And a woman can do this all the fucking time with various guys, all the fucking time, every month, every week, every year, and feel like they're getting through life in a very easy way. But these men and these boys are having to spend thousands of hours of life being super responsible just to blow thousands of dollars on women that don't fucking care about anything. This is functioning fucking adult. This is how that shit works. Because somewhere there is a female that is by herself, living life, doing what she's supposed to do, and she can't understand why it's difficult for her to find a meaningful, decent relationship with somebody, because she's operating from that fake ass, single woman ass mentality, and they're not fucking compatible. Single woman mentality is not compatible with functional adult mentality. It's just not. Because it's just not the reality of the world that we live in. That's not how life actually works. So that's just me ranting and raving, because I understand the vision that I have, and I know what I'm trying to do, and I know the direction I'm going in, and all the principles of what I'm doing and saying is based on the premise that I'm a decent human being. People will argue with me. Christians would be like, that's not true. If you're a decent human being, you wouldn't have the trials and tribulations that you got. If Jesus loved you, you wouldn't be suffering the way that you're suffering. Dude, that's just fucking white people. The fucking world is ran by Europeans and Caucasians that have fucked everything up. And I don't understand why we keep just going along to fucking get along. And my 2 cents is about that. Like, That's the point of the videos that I'm putting out. Even if you think that I'm crazy, even if you think that I'm coming off as harsh or weird, I know that within 4 fucking years of your life, if you are 18 watching this right now in 2026, I know by the time you get to 2030, you're gonna be like, everything he said was correct and true and valid. What do I need to fucking do to stop dealing with this bullshit that he's outlined so elegantly 4 fucking years ago? I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that that is what's going to happen. The problem is, right fucking now for me, is the problem. How am I going to pay my rent to get to 2030? How am I going to pay my utilities? How am I going to pay my bills? What sacrifices am I going to have to make to be able to sustain this fucking bullshit that I don't want to fucking sustain? The reality is that I don't want to be invested in my own fucking self-destruction. I don't want to have to get up and go to fucking work and work for somebody that's going to immediately tell me that I'm doing a bad job and that I'm not fucking good enough every goddamn day. I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to have to go into this facility and have a bunch of people, regardless of their skin complexion, walking around watching me nervously because of the shit that Fox 2 News says about people that look like me. I'm not your fucking enemy. I'm not attacking you. I'm not trying to blow shit up. I'm not trying to destroy every fucking thing. And I shouldn't have to every goddamn day reiterate that I'm not the fucking problem directly or indirectly. I shouldn't have to put the extra energy into that every goddamn day. I shouldn't have to constantly have people walk past me afraid of me because they have fucking insecurities. I shouldn't have to be dealing with that every goddamn day. I just shouldn't have to. And I'm sick and tired of living in a fucking world where we know why the world is the way that it is, but people want me to understand that if I would just stop bitching and complaining and stop being and just be a fucking Christian, that my life would be better. Your life isn't fucking better because you believe it's better. You should be able to see the things that you want and the things that you need and the things that you desire and be able to obtain those things without having to compromise your ethics, morality, or legality. And that would be the true value of a good life. That would be the true value of a good life. The unnecessary compromising of our integrity every day to not have enough is the failing of fucking society. That's the reason why you have Puff Daddy in fucking prison on accusations, but the Epstein files can drop and they won't do shit to fucking white men. That's the reality. That's the fucking reality. The way that you can just say that this non-Caucasian, non-European, non-white person is the devil and a whole fucking mob will lynch the fuck out of them without question, without hesitation. But anything that fucking Dexter, 13 fucking seasons of Dexter, a Caucasian male running around as a fucking serial killer, and we still don't see Caucasian males with the same level of stereotypical fear that we see all non-white males. Because everybody associates the ideology of white man with fucking Jesus Christ and ignore the history that they fucking taught us. That's the reality of the world. That's every fucking day. Every fucking day. And I just don't understand. Actually, I do understand. That's the reason why I created the Mighty Son System. This feels like somebody that's losing grip of reality. And that's not what this is. What this is the axioms, postulates, theorems, and thesis of the Michelson life system in a format that I have to put out because no matter what I do, I don't have enough time to do the things that I need to do the way that I need to do them, because that's the fucking point of society. The point of fucking society is to make sure that we don't have enough extra time, energy, and resources to escape the bullshit fucking prison that they put us in so they can keep maximizing their profit margin off of us not having fucking enough. Like they literally created a pyramid scheme where you not having enough money makes them maximum fucking profit. And by them I mean fucking corporate fucking European. Like corporate Europe, corporate nations. These corporate fucking nations. You know what the police are? The police are not enforcers of law. The police are not enforcers of justice. The police are city level security, state level security, federal level security, so that corporations can have a safe environment that they can produce businesses and services in, so that they can pay taxes to the government, so that the government can profit. Your politicians don't get paid off of your tax dollars. Your politicians get paid directly from taxes collected by corporations and businesses. And the corporations and the businesses that pay the taxes that allow them to have health care, dental plans, insurance policies, enough money for their children to go to really good colleges and all of that stuff, for them to be a minority group in society and have enough to where they're not suffering and struggling, is the reason why millions of fucking people all over the fucking globe are constantly in a state of duress and distress. If politicians were forced to live in the poorest communities of their constituents and had to operate at the same level as the poorest people in their society, if that was what was expected of them, the quality of life for the average person would be significantly higher. That's not what we expect for them. We don't expect that from them. We want Donald Trump to be a billionaire because young white men ages 18 to 25 want to be Trump, and they believe that the lottery can be hit and that they can overcome the adversities of the other people around them because they are superior and achieve the same thing that Donald Trump has achieved, and they're perfectly okay with gambling that against the suffering of the entire planet. That's just how that shit works. That's how it always has worked. And there's not really much that an individual can do until we all come together on the same page and realize that your generation, this is the most important part of what I'm saying, is the people that were born in the year 2000 don't have to do the shit that I did. I have to do this. I have to get into my car and go to fucking work and deal with this bullshit ass fucking society. The generation that's born in the year 2000 and up, y'all don't have to fucking be in compliance. You don't have to be in fucking compliance. You don't have to do it. Just don't fucking do it. Just don't fucking consent. The entire generation just stops fucking consenting, just like the Chinese, laying flat. If American youth just was like, we're not doing that shit, we're not gonna fucking do it. If y'all would just do that shit universally across all boards. If you are a Caucasian and you're constantly having to deal with the adversity of African Americans and the idea of slavery and all that shit happened a long time ago. The problem is that you as a Caucasian male or a Caucasian female are perfectly content with benefiting from the advantages of being the descendant of the slave master and not the descendant of the slave, right? Just don't do that shit. Just don't it sounds crazy when I say it out loud. Just don't fucking do it. When your parents are like, hey, here's all this generational wealth that we accumulated through years and years and years of oppression of African Americans, as a Caucasian male or Caucasian female that's coming up in the world, just be like, I don't want the inherent slave money. I don't want to do that. Let me just go out and get a good job and, you know, work and be a decent person. Let me hire minorities and not treat them like shit. Let me not bring in a bunch of Caucasians and a bunch of African Americans and Latinos and Hispanics into my corporation and watch them begrudgingly based on the stuff that I heard on the news. Let me just treat them like decent human beings and pay them a fair wage. I could just pay everybody the same amount of money. That's the world that you guys should be invested in. And that's why I'm perfectly content with making these fucking, nothing about my life's gonna fucking change. None of this shit's gonna change. Like, I'm gonna do this. You know why I know I'm gonna be doing this until I'm 50, until I'm 60? Because it was designed for me to do this. Like, I never wanted to be in the army, but I wound up in a fucking army. People, the average African American doesn't want to go to fucking prison, but we wind up in fucking prison because it's designed that way. It's designed into society for those things to occur naturally and organically, and we believe that it's fucking Jesus Christ. And that's just the way this shit is designed. Like, that's just the reality of the world. And until we are willing to universally say, I don't fucking consent to being invested in my own detriment, we're gonna never escape this. If if the individual people that were giving hundreds of thousands of dollars to be ICE employees would not consent to go into the street and round up minorities, take them to other countries, we wouldn't have the problem that we have. But when you realize that you have Ku Klux Klan members marching through the streets of your city saying all of the non-whites should be gone, and the government pays them, let's just be honest, fucking hires all of these hate groups to put on masks and be ICE agents, because who else is gonna do that shit? That's your tax dollars at work. Because guess what we're still doing? We're still showing up to work every day. If I stop going to work and protest that I don't want to be a part of this society, you know what's gonna happen? I'm gonna be homeless on the fucking street. But if a million of us stop going to fucking work because we don't want society to be ran a certain way, society would stop. They can't throw a million people off out into the street. They can't. There's not enough police in the city to force everybody to be in compliance. That's just not how that shit works. The biggest problem is what I said about the schooling. As long as we think a certain way and we operate from a certain pattern of rules and regulations, nothing will ever change. Nothing ever changes as long as you allow them to convince you that the values that they're giving you are true. As long as you believe that you are superior to an African American without having to prove that shit. There are definitely Caucasian men on this planet that have done things that validate that they are better than me in ways that can be proven objectively. But there are Caucasian men that I have proven objectively to be better than myself. And that's the disconnect. That's the fucking disconnect. If you want to be superior, you should be superior by being fucking superior. And if you want to convince somebody that they are inferior to you, you should be able to rise up to the fucking challenge and not just spew a bunch of fucking stereotypes at them and expect them to accept what you say at face value. That's where we're failing. And the My 2 Cent Life System's goal is to outline this shit in a more elegant way. As always, my name is Paul Emerson. I've given you my 2 cents.